We're joined now by Modou Dibba from the Social Protection. He's going to talk about health and the controversy raging over the refurbishment of the Chamen Health Center. So, on to Modou Dibba. Welcome to the program, Modou.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. Thank you to you and thank you to the listeners for having the time to tune in. It's a pleasure. I think it's my first time to be on the program.
You're welcome. Tell us about social protection before we go on to address the issue of the Chamen Health Center.
All right, Uncle Peter. So, as you introduced, my name is Modou Dibba. I am the National Coordinator of the National Social Protection Secretariat, which sits under the Office of the Vice President. So, based on the Social Protection Policy 2015-2025, it ends this year. Social protection is a cross-cutting team. And it's one of the reasons why now it's under the Office of the Vice President, because we have different ministries involved. Now, in common knowledge or common parlance, social protection is often equated to cash transfers or social cash transfers. But if you look at the social protection policy, it goes beyond that. So this is why you will see social protection now into many domains, like helping in providing basic health service, early childhood centers, and of course, livelihood or skills training. So social protection is beyond one institution. It's activities across different ministries. For example, school feeding is a social protection program. Okay. Access to basic health is a social protection program. Livelihood training to upskill youth so that they are able to get gainful employment is social protection. So basically, the role of the Secretariat is, since these are scattered across different ministries and institutions was thought of in the Social Protection Policy, Priority 5, to provide the coordination and leadership of social protection activities across ministries. Okay. Now, the coordination on day-to-day basis is done by the Secretariat, and the Vice President provides the leadership across government in terms of social protection.
Fantastic. When did the Chamen Health Center come into play here? Because that's what you are here mainly to address. I mean, the Chamen Health Center is in need of refurbishment, maybe even expansion, and the Diaspora Club was on the verge of working on the maternity wing, possibly as a starting point, when suddenly, government intervened through the Ministry of Health to withdraw the permission it had given for the, privately sponsored, organization to go ahead with their plans.
All right, thank you. So let me do one step backwards so that we understand the logic of the additional health facilities. Now, currently, we have a project called the Vulnerable Youth and Women Support Project. Now, the project has two components. The first component is improving literacy and skills development. Now, this component is implemented by the Non- and Adult Formal Education Unit of the Ministry of Education and NEDI. NEDI is the National Enterprise Development Initiative under the Ministry of Youth and Sport to provide entrepreneurship training to youth between the age of 18 to 35. And of course, the female category, you can go up to 50. So that's one part. The component two is improving access to basic services. As I indicated in my introduction, social protection goes beyond social cash transfers.
Yes, it's cross-cutting.
It's cross-cutting. Now, the access to basic service includes education and health. Under the education component, we will intervene in improving early childhood education in 2 centers, and of course, TVET centers like Julangel and Tumana Agency for Development. Now, on the health component, the existing project will intervene in Fatoto Health Facility and Kuntaur. Now, when the project concept was done and the feasibility studies for the project, it had more health facilities in the project. But due to funding limitations of, it was $6 million, only 2 health facilities made it to the project. Now, with that background and need in mind, we worked on an additional financing to increase the scope of the project interventions. Now, in November 2024, the World Bank, the African Development Bank recommended the additional financing of approximately $20 million on the existing project. Now, what an additional financing does is the existing scope, which is the component 1 and 2 that I mentioned, will now be scaled up. As I indicated, when we did the assessment or feasibility for the first project, we wanted to have more health facilities, but it wasn't possible. Now, when we secured the approval...
Well, you had more health facilities wanting aid,
Yes.
but you could only accommodate two. So, I mean, it was not a question of not having enough health facilities that needed support.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So this need was already established with the bank. And also even the need for more skills training was also there. But the limitation was due to the funding. Now, when we secured an additional financing of $20 million, and just for the information of the audience, that was an open call for proposals across Africa. So we submitted like any other countries, and then we were fortunate to have our proposal to increase the scope of the existing project. So the data was already there on the need for improving health facilities. Now, once we receive it, of course, as you know, government works in collaborative manner, and each sector has their domain. Once we secured, and of course, when we were developing the proposal to increase the financing, Ministry of Health were also involved. Once we got the approval, we communicated to Ministry of Health to see we got an additional financing of 20 million in the project. Of course, the entire 20 million is not going to help. All the different components will now be scaled up, and new components like nutrition, surveillance, health system strengthening will also be added. We communicated to the Ministry of Health to provide us with the list of health facilities that required attention or intervention. They provided 4 health facilities: Brikama, Chamen, Yorobao, and Fodekunda. Now, the project's main intervention is in URR and CRR. And then we made the argument that Brikama initially Brikama is not in CRR and URR. But there is a peri-urban component in the project. Then the ministry justified that strictly in terms of the needs of government, these are the health facilities which are their priority, and we made this to the bank, and the bank accepted. Okay. So this is how Chamen came into being.
I thought the justification was for Brikama.
No, the justification for including Brikama is because the project intervention is in URR and CRR, and obviously Brikama is not in URR and CRR. But the ministry's argument was strictly based on need, the catchment area and the scope, the number of people to be covered.
Was that accepted, or was Brikama eliminated?
No, accepted.
So among the 4 new recommended potential areas of intervention, Brikama was included?
Indeed.
Okay.
And of course, because government decides the priorities based on the health outcomes in the different areas.
Okay.
So it was accepted, and Brikama, Fodekunda, Yorobal, and Chamen will now be added to the existing facilities of Fatoto and Kuntao.
Okay. So you say of this additional 20 million, not everything is going to health.
Certainly.
So how much is going to health?
Okay, so this one, I have to be a bit careful because these are potential contractual issues in the future. But the health component, let's say between 6 to 7 million, the entire health component of the project.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so here but did you already know that the Diaspora Club was involved in Chamen at the time?
To be honest, I only know about the Diaspora when it started going to the media. To be specific, I think on the 6th or on the 7th, that was when the news was on social media and it was forwarded to me. Someone jokingly said, "Oh, your project is stopping the Diaspora." So I said, "Oh, I don't know about this." So I didn't know, or we didn't know about the Diaspora Club.
How many other health centers or health facilities, could have been beneficiaries of the social protection intervention?
Actually, the ministry asked if there is no more space to include additional health facilities, but for now, due to the funding allocation of the different components, it could only take 4 health facilities. So added to the 2 to make it now 6.
So does it make sense that government is now putting money in a project that already had support when you have other equally needy health facilities that have zero support, not from government, not from any private entity?
So I think maybe we approach this in a two-step way. So the first step is to say, look at the intervention of government in the area. Like I said earlier on, the discussion on where to intervene is that of the Minister of Health.
True.
So we don't know the health outcomes in the area, or at least not to our fingertip as they do. Now, what I would like to do, if you don't mind, is to review the existing structure at Chamen, I'm so many people, and the intervention, what it will cover. Then probably one will be able to see that the intervention of the project has a wider scope and many complementaries compared to the intervention by the Diaspora Club.
Oh, yeah,
Without a doubt, the Diaspora Club intervention there or anywhere else should be welcome into any health facility. So right now in Chamen, you have a reproductive child health block. There's a labor block, it's small and open. You have a maternity ward, which is also small. There's a public health office and lab. They, of course, have an outpatient department. There's a staff quarters. There's a waiting set. There's a generator room. There's a public toilet, and the fence is not in the best of conditions. Now, the intervention that the project will do, there will be an expansion of the maternity ward to accommodate more patients. There will be an expansion. So in Kuntaur and in Fatoto, and in the concept for all the health facilities, the Minister of Health gives a guidance that in all the labor wards now, we should create a separate room for each delivery with everything inside. So the current labor ward there, of course there is a toilet inside, but it's set. Now our intervention is going to create more rooms for more women, but everything for each woman will be in its own room. So rather than an open one, so each one will be in your own cubicle. Let's say 5 or 4. Once the Minister of Works finish the possibility in terms of the expansion, how many can be accommodated there. Now there will be a construction of a new ward for both male and female. I'm sure I of course also listened to the program here. There's one ward there which is set. There is an artificial demarcation, but now we are going to build a completely new ward for male and female. This is different from the maternity. This is different from the labor ward. And of course, there will also be a construction of a story building to accommodate 10 staff. Now, in all the health facilities we will intervene, we looked at the complementarity. When you have a health facility and you don't have skilled labor there, basically you don't achieve anything. So for all the health facilities we are intervening, all the 6, we will do staff quarters, either build from scratch or renovate. So we are going to build a new staff quarters that can accommodate 10 staff at the request of the ministry. Of course, we are also on the ground. We will construct also a new public health block to accommodate public health office, a laboratory, a blood bank, a drugstore, and a scanning room. Now, when we went there, they explained that even if they need basic scanning, they have to go to Bansang or another health facility. So the health facility on the ground and the Minister of Health will determine the need of what the health facility needs. So these things were also requested, and this will be done. There will be a construction of a fence, 250 meters. Like I said, the fence there now can be improved. So the fencing will be done completely. Huh?
Fencing is not the most urgent thing.
Yes. So 2 more things. Will also increase the water storage, and there will be solar panel. Now, the existing structures on the ground that will also be renovated include the old staff quarters, which is different from the 10 new blocks that we are doing. There will be, of course, the outside toilet, the water shed, and all the rest that are there will be renovated. So this is the expansion in terms of scope.
But if you have only $6 million at most for 4 health centers to be built all to this standard, when will you begin? You don't have enough money.
We don't have enough money?
No.
No, we do.
From what you just said, 6 million?
We do.
For all these story building, you know.
So let me see.
Yes.
We've just finished the evaluation of bids for civil works in Kuntaur and Fatoto. And the work that will happen in Kuntaur and Fatoto are far greater than the work that will happen in Chamen. Okay. And we already know the cost for that. So like I said, for contractual reasons, I cannot reveal them because potential contractors will bid for these works in the future.
Okay.
But we have more than enough.
Okay. But let's just say here that not all facilities, you know, will look the same and have the same facilities and number of blocks and whatever.
You mean the different health facilities?
Yes, the different health facilities.
Certainly.
Kunta Wood will not look like Chamen. Chamen will not look like what are the other two areas?
No, certainly, but
Okay.
the need.
So Chamen is going to be, prioritized.
All of them will be prioritized, as in the project, all of them, because there's funding for the extra 4. So all of them will go at the same speed. Like I said, now we just got the approval for the other health facilities, the early childhood, and the TVET centers. So all of them will go at the same speed.
So you've only now got approval. You haven't even advertised for contractors to submit bids, or have you done that?
So in response to this, I would also like to clarify some things I had on the on the
you need
on
to
the
clarify
story,
everything.
which is
that feasibility studies have not even been done yet. Bids have not been invited, and all of that. So
let's talk about the feasibility studies.
Yes.
So the feasibility studies for the project is the same feasibility studies for the initial project. So we have passed feasibility study. What we did when we went there, I was in Chamen, was an assessment of the current structure on the ground for the Ministry of Works to complete the final costing of the works that will be done there. So it is not feasibility study, because the information in the first study was what was used to argue as part of the...
When was that first study conducted?
So the feasibility study for the existing project, because...
Yes.
So let's have these two. An additional financing doesn't need feasibility study. So the feasibility study for the first project suffice. So when you do the first project, you do a feasibility study that there is a need to intervene in health. Like I said, so that need has already been determined, but due to the limitation in funding, it could only accommodate 2. Now what we did was just an assessment to finalize the numbers for each health facility to now go into the final project. Now, in the previous project, it took longer to start, because at that time, the project implementing unit is not set. So right now, everything is set. Everything is set for the existing project. Now, when you have the new, there is no delay anymore in terms of implementation, because all the structures are in place. Yes, we will need contracts for the new facilities, completely separate, but that could still be the existing contractors, or the procurement process may not be as long as the other one, because the project is already started and you have existing contracts in similar works. So we are expected to start in a much shorter time than the other one.
Give us a timeline, a time frame. Give us an idea, because Diaspora Club were, about to begin work when the plug was pulled on, their donation.
Yes. So if I'm sure everyone else familiar with development projects, they will understand that there are different projects. For now, the only technical issue yet to be finished is the development of the safeguards instruments for the final clearance for the procurement process to start for the works. So I may not want to say it will start in May or in June.
Or who is to give that clearance? AFDB?
Of course, the NEA will have to do the final ESI instruments cleared, and then the
NEA. I mean, there's already an existing health center there. It's not a new project.
Unfortunately, for example, if you are doing a civil works in the maternity unit or in the labor unit, what happens to potential women who want to deliver? So all these are safeguards issues that you have to develop instruments to address. But on the timeline issue, I would say technically this is the only administrative issue, and then we'll go into the procurement process. For the previous ones, we started the procurement process for the contracts, and then we were able to finish within 2 months. And I expect that this one should take a shorter period, because we also learned from the experience we did the other one.
So we have no idea when, clearance will be given. That might take another month or 2.
So we have an idea.
You have an idea
we
when?
We just cannot say exactly work will start on the 15th or whatever.
No, let's talk about clearance first. So when do you expect, by what date do you expect to get the clearance from AFDB?
So let's say in March.
In March?
In March.
Okay.
In March, we should get the final no objection or clearance from the board.
Okay.
Because we are.
And then you need how many more weeks for, contracts?
Yeah, so there is also a possibility, and that's why I say an existing project can take. There is also a possibility we do what they call advanced contracting, because we know these are coming, and then we start those processes well ahead of this. So this is also allowed, and this is a possibility we are pursuing with the bank, just to make sure that the lead time on all these health facilities, it takes less time. Because the other one, remember, we had to even bring in the project staff. That is already in place. So I think we have the human resources right now to make it as short as possible in order to intervene.
Okay. Yeah. So if by April there is no work started in Chamen, people have a right to say government was wrong to stop Diaspora Club?
So, like I said, I didn't have any knowledge about the Diaspora Club or their intervention, but I would say...
You've just been told?
Yes. So, yes.
That there was goodwill,
yes,
all right, and a commitment,
yes,
to work on the maternity. In the meantime, while you are waiting, I mean, lives are in danger in Chamen.
So I would say that once the project starts, and it will start without a doubt, once the project starts, it will be what.
So if it doesn't start by April, again, to come back to my question, if it doesn't start by April 2025, people have reason to say, government is, as one of the speakers on the program say, playing with Chamen lives.
So let me say, I am not saying that works will start on the ground in April. I am saying the final clearance from the bank will come in March.
Yes.
Okay.
So it will take more time then.
We have the possibility to do what is called advanced contracting to make sure that we start some processes even before then.
We're talking about works.
Yeah. So that's what.
Not boardroom stuff.
Yeah. So the civil works, I cannot say they will start in April or they will start in May. What I can guarantee is that we will lose all the administrative processes at our disposal to make sure work start as soon as final clearance is given. This is our promise to the people of Chamen and to the people of the Gambia.
Modou, thank you very much for coming. That's Modou Dibba of Social Protection. Is it agency?
Social Protection Secretariat. Now it will be Social Protection Agency anytime soon because the act has already been passed. So the final setting of the board of the agency is being done. So next time we come, we will say Social Protection Agency.
And then you will have more money. And then we will start charging for every appearance on Coffee Time.
We hope so.
Modou, thanks for coming. Thanks,
Thank you
Modou
very
Dibba.
much also for having me for the first time on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. Come again with a lot of money next time.